And we're live, much to my amazement. Here we are. And Val's welcoming everyone. And I'm being rude and I'm not. So take that from both of us. And we're going to sit here and talk for a minute to kind of give people a chance. This is a weird time when I don't normally have shows and Val's not normally on. And we don't know how many people are even going to show up.
That's true.
So we're going to try and it doesn't really matter because all of these are taped. They're on a playlist. So, or they will be soon, and you can all go back and see everybody.
Right. And, I just forgot to do something.
What?
I'm just going to go in really quick.
Go fast and stream it to your audience.
Yeah, I'm going to put you on my post the video.
Yes. We got to talking, guys. We just distract each. Hi, Rossi. Hi, Darlene K. We've got 9 whole people. And Christy, we were just talking about you, Miss Christy. Christy's going to be on with me at noon tomorrow, and you can hear all about Christy's ghosty house. It's not ghosts, it's energy. Christy ran into some energy in her house.
Yeah.
We talked about how you deal with that.
Wow.
Christy, and I thought, I'm doing another 6-month reading today, right before this one. And I thought, what fun. I'm just going to do a reading. It's not going to have any of that kind of stuff in it. Nah, she's got a house that's being attacked by infestations of insects.
Oh, wow. I was just thinking, Nancy Jean, in the last couple of days, how as we are opening up to more and more of our higher self and all the astral dimensions and all the different frequencies, you're really you're opening up to more of that
kind of stuff.
And I'm not saying you're inviting it into your house, but you've got to.
Well, it's a signal. It's a signal that some low-lying energy is there that needs to get handled.
Yes.
But that has nothing to do with why. Today we are gathered here today to discuss the incredible journey of Val and Dragonfly Crystals.
Yes.
And I'm going to go with the same 20 questions I've asked everybody else.
Okay.
And when did you first realize you had psychic abilities?
Oh, gosh. Like 2 minutes ago. No. It's like, I didn't know that's what it was when I saw angels and when I was a child, or I saw my guides. I didn't know. I didn't know what that was. I didn't even think, I had no thoughts about whether somebody else had the same thing. I didn't compare myself to others. I just had the experience. I didn't run and tell my mom and dad. This was since I was a tiny child. So I just saw them and we had conversations and I did things that they asked me to do. And I didn't name it or think it was anything. So then when I had experiences, but as a teenager and I started to meditate and really have my own awakening, I was opening up more and more. But did I know that and I'm Pisces, so everybody's intuitive, but did I call it something? No, I really didn't. And did I reach out as a psychic medium? No, I never. I just did what I did and didn't call it anything. So there wasn't some big epiphany. Wow, I have skills. No, it wasn't like that until I actually stepped into. I went to mystery schools. Actually, it was more online, but I did go in person and did that education and the deeper connection that you get from that, the Kundalini rising, a lot of yoga, a lot of Kriya yoga, all kinds of different things. So as I opened up and I would hear voices, I would hear things, I just didn't name it. I mean, I didn't call myself anything. So I just started maybe 3 or 4 years ago. as I began to reach out to use my gifts and abilities, that's when I took classes so I could say, oh, yeah, I am a psychic medium. I am intuitive. I took on the mantle. I took on the mantle. And
so you've already kind of gone right through 3 questions.
I'm sorry, your question.
Okay.
Whoops.
So
there wasn't a defining moment. Darn.
That was the next thing was, did you have an aha moment? You said no.
No.
Do you remember the first experience that you really felt that when you look back, you can recognize that?
My first experience was when I read My Life in Tibet when I was about 20 years old, and I was deep into reading it. And as he was climbing up this mountain in the Himalayas to meet his master, and then he collapsed in the snow. They had to rescue him to the monastery. There was a big gong sound when he woke up the next day. That gong reverberated inside my body, inside my head. And that was my awakening.
Very good.
A real gong.
A real gong.
Vibrational sound in my body, mind, and spirit. It was like the cue.
How did people around you react if you shared your experience?
I really didn't share that experience. I mean, my mom was always metaphysical. I didn't even share it. I don't think I really shared it with her. As an introverted kind of person, I don't really care if I share it or not. So I didn't really do that. I didn't reach out. My own deep experience was my own deep experience. And that's how I felt at that time.
You weren't trying to build the Dragonfly Crystals.
No, I wasn't building anything. I was just experiencing.
Okay. Did you already answered this a little bit, but did you do a lot of training or did you explore a lot of stuff on your own?
I did a lot of training in the world, like the mystery schools and my own. I must have read every single metaphysical book known to mankind at that time and continued to do so. So yeah, I explored on my own in various different ways, things that attracted me, things I was interested in. And then, I learned different healing modalities, different things related to energy work. And then things evolved from there. Yeah.
Very good. Were there any real challenges you felt in learning in your early path that you just felt like, screw this, I'm out of here?
Yeah. When I did the Kundalini rising, they called it Lama Yoga, but it was like Kira, however you pronounce that, Kira Yoga. I don't know how to pronounce it, but anyway, it's when you use your breath and the Kundalini rises. I was about 30 and totally unprepared to have the experience of tuning in. Like, I wasn't trying to tune in. I was hearing radio stations in my head, like the astral realm or I heard voices, literally voices, not in my head, in my ear.
Yeah.
I was not ready for that because apparently I hadn't purged all that, whatever fear and 3D stuff was going on in my young life. I was not ready. And I said, wait a minute, whoa. So I went to see one of my metaphysical teachers, and they said, oh, goody, you're opening up and you're doing this so young. Oh, that's so wonderful. Yeah, but I got to go to work. I have little kids. I have a job. I got to draw, Finally, I stopped that practice, but I kept on with the
understanding.
yeah, I said, no, I can't do this and run my life right now, because I had tremendous fear from it. And the fear of the unknown. I didn't have a belief in the devil, but I had a feeling of fear related to the unknown of what could come through, the unknown of, like haunted houses.
Right.
You don't know. So I really had to refine my understanding. I had to purge a lot of that fear aspect and bring a lot of love into
And I
my
think people have to think about it. Like when you're our age, you're kind of making decisions for yourself.
Yeah,
But when you're in your 30s and 20s, you're making decisions for the kids that are around you.
exactly.
So you're not, you're much more tied to another sense of consciousness
Yes.
than
And
people know.
I definitely did that because it wasn't going to work with my lifestyle at the time, with my family and everything that I had to do. But it really was the fear that um, that just paralyzed me related to that. But then now at this stage of my life, I'm like, nah, that's
No, I'm not worried about that.
why did I have that? It's like when they talk about being in front of an extraterrestrial and they're so high frequency, you get this immediate fight or flight fear reaction energetically. That's how I felt when I was doing that Kundalini rising thing.
Dealing with earth energies. Right?
Yeah, it was that kind of fear. Yeah.
What specific tools became part of your practice early on, and do you still use them now?
Yeah, actually, chanting before meditation, getting into that practice of surrounding yourself with light, calling in your angels and guides and higher self, source energy, and chanting. And sometimes I do the Gayatri mantra, but mostly I did the Om, just simply Om. And that vibration, that energy would transport me energetically to a place where I didn't even have breath anymore. I didn't breathe. I didn't need to breathe. I would go, my conscious mind would go, oh, I'm not breathing. Oh, I don't need to breathe. And then after a very long period of time, breath would come again, but it would be this feeling of like samadhi, like you were in this state of like unity. But that would happen in the early days, and onward. So there was a big connection from sitting in meditation doing that. Yeah. Chanting.
Did you have mentors or teachers?
Uh,
What would be the best piece of advice if you had someone like that?
The best piece of advice is you have to do the practice on your own. No teacher, guide, or guru is going to help you bridge the gap. You have to sit down and do it. If you say, how come I can't have psychic mediumship skills? You do. You were born with them. But you've got to go take a little class. Take a little class, step your feet into it, and do the practice of it. Because that is the only difference between someone who's practicing as a psychic medium and someone who isn't. It's just doing it. Everyone can do it. Everyone can do it. There isn't anyone. You're all born with all the gifts. No one is different than you. Sure, some have a bigger claircognizance than others. I mean, they're stronger, but as you use them, all the skills come online and it fluctuates between what is happening when you're in front of a client, for instance. It will be whatever needs to come through in whatever way is shown to you, whether it's vision or knowing or whatever that is. So, yeah.
This question's kind of a tricky one. What's the difference between psychic impressions and your imagination?
the difference between psychic impressions and your imagination is it will not be something you would ever say. For instance, if, a lot of clairaudience is a thought voice in your head. It's your voice, but it won't be something you would ordinarily say. A good example is yesterday for messages for light workers. I go in, I ask my guides, messages for light worker guides, what they want to talk about today. And I heard the word aggregation. I have never said the word aggregation in my lifetime. Never would I ever imagine saying aggregation, and that would be a spiritual topic. No. So I knew.
And the way I know that word is it has to do with the geology of how stones come together.
Yes, you know it from that. Yes. And it's really a gathering together. So that was what the topic was yesterday on Messages for Lightworkers. And also, when you know it's not your ego voice talking, it sounds like something how you wouldn't say it, what you wouldn't say, and it will always be for your highest good. It will always be a loving voice telling you positive things. What does your ego do? It kind of rips you down, makes you have doubt, does all this other kind of, the shadow side of things. So that's how you know, clearly. Yeah.
Were there moments when you've really doubted yourself? And how did you push through that, if you did?
I'm trying to think of a time when I doubted myself. I never doubted myself spiritually. In my life, the biggest sort of downward spiral or feeling down would be when I got divorced or when my son passed away at 38 years old. Those are my love, who I love, what happened in that aspect would bring me down. But I always stayed connected. I always had that.
We're allowed to grieve. There's nothing that says we get airy fairy, we don't grieve.
I grieved. I definitely grieved divorces, and I grieved my son passing. And the thing about that 9-year grief I went through, I really couldn't connect to my son the way I would want to, because I was in that grief, in that process. And now, since it's transitioned into a different stage, I can talk to him anytime that I want. So and he's shown up for me, full body apparition. So, that has been interesting, to say the least. Yeah.
How do you handle skepticism from yourself or others?
I don't really come into a situation. I haven't been put in a situation where someone is skeptical. It's just not something that comes in, probably because in the early days when I was working and we'd sit around the break room at lunchtime and talk about spiritual topics, and people that didn't believe in such a thing were reacting a little strongly to it, like, and I realized I'm not here to convince anyone. I'm not here as a preacher to talk to people about this, that, or the other thing. We're all on our own sacred journey. I'm not here to do any of that. That isn't my role. And so I don't attract people who want to challenge anything, because I don't present things in a way in which there's anything to challenge. This is just my idea about things, my idea of how the world works. And if it works for you, take it and run with it. If it doesn't, drop it, whatever. Yeah.
That's a good, healthy attitude, because
I
don't think we can prove ourselves to people who don't want proof.
We can't, and it's not something that we're needing to do. That would be an ego gratification to have a the kind of battle. No, you don't have to do that. It's not necessary. And it's one of the first things you learn as you're going into metaphysics, as you're coming online and you think, oh, everybody's got to know this. I've got to tell everyone, oh, this is so wonderful. I've got to share this. No,
you don't. And actually, in some ways, the more spiritual they seem to be, the less you're going to find out.
Yes. So
that's
kind of a stage you go through in the very beginning. It's like when I don't want to offend anyone. When you're a born again Christian, you think you have to convert everyone. It's the same kind of process we go through, our personalities, our persona, but it's not the real depth of who you are and why you're here. So, yeah.
And it's a lot of what people presume, because my first husband was a Christian minister.
Oh.
Was a Methodist minister. Was in theology school. I learned a lot hanging out with the theologues about the broader spiritual world.
Yeah.
And he never said, don't tell people what you do, but you quickly learn. They're just people.
Well, yeah. I mean, let's just say, Nancy Jean, backing up, I wouldn't have this conversation with certain people because you just know you're not going to sit. They're not interested. You know, they wouldn't receive it well. And you aren't going to waste your breath. It's just not something you would do. If they asked, you can answer honestly. And only then, basically. Otherwise, you're imposing your beliefs on someone or your ideas. And I would never do that. I mean,
we all know how far that goes when people try to convince us to believe what they believe. So
yes,
not a great idea.
If you run from people who try and convince you, because you've got to stand in your own sovereign power. You stand in your own sovereign power, your beliefs, and you are powering your ship. You and your higher self, your monad. You're going to be touching your higher self, your source energy. No one's going to do that for you.
I will tell you probably the lowest energy story I know about that. It was a friend of mine who was a TV producer I worked with in the 70s. And when he was going through school, the Jehovah's Witnesses used to come and knock on their door at the same time all the time. Yeah. So they said, well, come back next week. We're in the busy doing stuff. And so next time the guys came, they all sat there on their couches, stark naked, and said, come in and convince us about God.
Oh my God.
Isn't that not the lowest? He said, I now know why they always had to dress the native before they tried to convert them. Because there's little bits they were looking at.
Yes.
Speaking of, now we're going to raise the energy of this conversation. How do you protect your own energy?
It's really simple. And at the end of the day, we really don't even have to do anything like this. But this is for our own ego benefit and to quiet everything down. And it's like stating our intention to the universe as we surround ourselves with light. Right. I always say everything out loud. I am surrounded by the pure white light of divine source. And I call in a guide, a protector, just so that my ego is calm and feels secure. I call in Archangel Michael to protect and guide me as I call forth all my angels, guides, beings of light, and Akashic Record Masters to assist me in the highest vibration of light and love in the highest timeline for myself and humanity. This is what I say before everything. I said it before this. This sets the intention of everything you're doing. And then when you're done, you can I release all energy that is not mine with light and love. I am surrounded by the pure white light of the divine source. I ask Archangel Michael to cut all the cords. If you really want to imagine that sword cutting every cord. Right. And I pull my own energy back into my energy field. Then I pull in white light and I ground myself into Mother Earth. I am grounded and aligned. I'm centered and balanced. And it is so. when you say it, and I say it all out loud.
That's right.
That's my practice.
Okay. Do you think psychic abilities are innate, and can anyone develop them?
Psychic abilities
Are innate. They're
any clair. You were born with every clair.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't anything you lack. You are complete. You are a sovereign being now. The only thing between you and your seeing yourself as the sovereign divine source being you are, projecting a fractal of your soul down into this vehicle, is that you have a filter, and the filter is 3D. And the 3D filter shows its illusion.
Mm-hmm.
So once you take yourself out of that 3D matrix, out of that whole thing, and you're standing in your sovereign power, knowing who you are and not buying into the drama around you, you are the observer. You are the divine source energy.
Mm-hmm.
You move with grace and ease. This is who you are. The universe is an abundant place that delivers constantly. All you have to be is in receiving mode.
That's right. She's not kidding. What signs might someone notice if they're gifted? I mean, you and I are both, and a lot of people are coming up saying, this is crazy, but this is happening around me. And then it's really hard to say, that's been happening to me for years, and it's not crazy. But
yeah, what would I say if someone
what signs do you see that people are beginning to wake up?
Oh gosh, seeing, just even Googling or on YouTube, matrix glitches in the matrix. Google that. Glitches in the matrix, or put it in the search engine of YouTube, because you will see random people posting on TikTok, and they're getting, and it's a YouTube video. You're going to see all these people saying, I moved and I wrapped up this cup, this happy blah 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 cup that it was a limited edition. There weren't any other ones. I got to the house, my new house. I opened up the box, and there were two. So there are many glitches like that, or when you drive and you're on your way home, you know how you kind of get, you come in from work, you're on your way home, you get in that dreamy state, all of a sudden you realize you're not where you're supposed to be, and maybe you're in a dark, alley somewhere. No time has gone by. I mean, there's all kinds of things. Seeing yourself in that same time and space, but you're viewing yourself. That happened to me. Or me seeing my husband come downstairs and stand down this long hallway. I'm in my meditation room, and I can see him coming down the stairs, and he stopped and had a big conversation with me, chit-chatted. And an hour later, I went upstairs. I had to do something. He's in bed, and he's looking at his phone. And I said, honey, why are you back in bed? And he said, I've never gotten up. He wasn't lying either, because he saw me at the window when we were getting ready for bed. He was already in bed, but I wasn't there. I was laying in bed. He turned and he saw me in bed, and he said, what? These are glitches.
What are you doing here?
These are glitches in the matrix, folks.
Yeah, my friend and I have a close friend, and we call it deja vu all over again.
Yeah.
And I called her last night because I was going through some, and she'd been going through it all day yesterday.
Yeah.
How has your work changed your worldwide beliefs or your beliefs in life about life and death?
Say that one more time.
Okay. How has the work changed your worldwide or your worldwide scope of view or your beliefs about life and death?
Everything that my guides and angels and what I'm tapping into is so big and so vast. I'm really doing multidimensional work, and we have no limitation.
Mm-hmm.
We have no limitation to time. There is no time and space as we think linearly here in the 3D Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you have full access to everything. All the lifetimes that you are, the parallel lifetimes, you're able to access all those memories, all that, the skills, the abilities, the gifts, and that now I'm just being led to be who you are, who you really are, be that sovereign being, not in an egoic way, in a real, we are standing in the power of who we are. Does that get rid of our shadow side? No. when you have those moments arise, just bring it in, give it a big hug, because it's part of you. Embrace it. Does that make you less of a divine source being? No. It's just what we have created here in Earth School. So what has changed in this timing now is that proclaiming, being in the energy of who you really are. This is my message to everyone, that you are divine source beings, and there isn't anything you have to do. You don't have to do this or twist yourself that way or anything like that. You're already there. You have all the clairs you need, all the tools in your belt, everything in your life path has been placed there by you to enhance your timing now as you're stepping into this power that you are, this divine source energy.
I agree. Okay. And what's the most powerful reading you've ever done, or one that had a lot of power and it really impacted you and the person, or whichever way you want to look at it?
Oh gosh, there's so many. When I've done Akashic record readings for people who have a lot of childhood trauma, and they haven't been able to move through it, it still filters through into their marriages, into their relationships with their children, and then to see the shift once we go into every single root lifetime where they have held that trauma in their cellular structure. We go into this healing, this, we'll call it dissolving that story and talking about the truth of what you discovered, what you learned. And that releases you from that hold that you've put on yourself. It releases it from your cells and in all your energy body. That going through all those little issues, be it, oh, my parents, I didn't have a good relationship with them. It felt like they didn't love me. They liked all my siblings better than me, and they didn't treat me nicely, and blah, 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 all these things, whatever that is. These burdens going away leave you so much lighter and seeing yourself so much more clearly in a beautiful haze of, not haze, clearly love. You are this love energy, and you put those hard things on your path to allow you to be the leader that you are, the person stepping into the power, because only people who are here to do powerful work would line up all these things to trigger them stepping into their power. That is about what this is. And I see these people now making a 360-degree turn in their life. And I can't tell you how much that makes me so happy. I mean, it is what I do. It's what I do. Seeing people turn on to their own sovereignty.
Yeah. And how do you handle sensitive or complex messages?
head on. For the most part, I don't
Fine.
filter.
I mean, that's totally,
I don't filter.
yeah.
I mean, if I'm going to hear it through the Akashic Record Masters, or I'm going to see it in a reading,
Then somebody needs to hear it.
Yeah, they need to hear it. It wouldn't be there otherwise. And it's never going to be in a cruel way. It's going to be in an observational way. It's just information. It's just information. And your lifetimes, your stories are not you, and you are not your stories. They're just vignettes, like plays, that you use to understand something, to learn something. But you're not that. Those are experiences you lined up. So separating out that trauma that we have created, that's pretty key. Yeah.
Yeah. Rewrite those bad act ones.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Now this is advice and inspiration from Val.
Oh, advice or inspiration. Okay.
What advice would you give to someone who's starting to explore their gifts?
Know that you are enough, just as you are. You're not lacking anything. You are the divine source being in this vehicle. And dispel your disbelief. That part of you that is going, that ego mind, that logical mind that is going to try and find fault when you get an intuitive hit, when you are talking to your guides and angels and you hear something. Really tell that ego to take a back seat, because the creative mind is the mind that connects as the channel. So you need to tell yourself, you're going to give yourself time to believe every single thing. Dispel disbelief, suspend it for a certain amount of time to allow yourself to realize that channel is there. It always has been. It's not blocked. You're not blocked. You have all the gifts.
Okay. And then any daily habits or exercises that you recommend?
I would say, this is from my perspective, everyone's different, to tap into your divine source through your heart. The heart and mind coherence is key to everything. So even if you Google heart mind coherence meditation, whatever you want to do, you can do that, and it'll walk you through how you synchronize your heart and your mind to be one, to work together. And the heart is the gateway to everything. It really is. And so deep breathing and exhaling through your mouth can just sort of suspend the ego mind for a minute. Whether you're walking in nature or sitting down to meditate, whatever it is, dancing, whatever those practices that put you into that altered state where you can tap into your higher self, your divine source energy that you are, whether it's doing Tai Chi or, whatever that is, Qigong. So all of those practices, yoga, whatever that is for you, don't limit yourself. I'm not the, map. I'm just suggesting, and you take it and make it yours, whatever that is. Yeah.
Right. How can you find someone trustworthy in a psychic community to be a mentor? How would you find it?
If you see someone who is your peer, and they sound like they're saying things that you don't know about, but they sound positive, they sound great, and they sound uplifting, and they sound expansive, and they sound empowering, hang out with them.
Right. Or hang out with their...
If they put themselves on the teacher guru status, I take a step back, because this journey right now is all about all of us together, community, just linearly, community, shoulder to shoulder, holding hands, no one above the other. Everyone is the same. You are me and I am you. You have everything that I have. We are the same.
What's the biggest lesson you've learned on your psychic journey? Now, this is a little question.
What's the biggest one?
Lesson you've learned on your psychic journey?
That's the biggest lesson. Oh, I think my biggest lesson is to allow myself to step into the unknown, because I have no idea where my little ego mind has no idea where that's going to lead me.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what my uncomfortableness, as I'm an introvert, and here I am. So no matter how uncomfortable, it has brought me riches of the soul to step out and connect with everyone. Had I not done this, had I not stepped out, there is so much that unfolded from that. So stepping into the unknown, even if you're afraid or you feel insecure or you feel uncomfortable, do it anyway. So, yeah.
You know, it's like the Fool, the first card in the tarot. He's stepping off the cliff, and whenever I see that card, I always think about the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes.
When he has to, there's a bridge there. If you
yes, there's a bridge there, right?
And he steps on it, and he keeps going across, and he's kind of looking around like, "Oh my God, there really is a bridge here."
Yeah. Yes, that's like that. That's
the only way you're going to find out. And if you fall down, then guess what you learned? That wasn't your bridge.
Yeah, because I mean, for instance, you're going to do, if you started a YouTube channel, you're going to do like 2 or 3 things on YouTube, and you're going to go, you're going to feel awkward. You're going to feel weird. You're going to feel self-conscious. All these things are going to happen, but you're going to go through a metamorphosis where all of a sudden you're yourself and you feel comfortable no matter what, which is the point of it all. And maybe that leads to you doing classes, and maybe that leads to you doing membership meetings where you're creating a circle together with people, and so on and so forth. There's so much that evolves out of you coming out of your cave.
Well, what if you find out the answer is you? You want to have a group of people to talk to? Create a channel or a Zoom program so that you can have a creative group to talk with.
That is exactly right. So, no matter what fear you might have and insecurity, realize you've got it all. You're already enough. If you have an inner prompting to do something, don't put it on hold for the right moment. It is the right moment now, in the now. Just get up and do it. That's what I did, and I didn't think about it. I didn't let it go to the ego mind.
No, I had a vision, and I said, I saw this yesterday, and next thing I knew, my kids had put the whole thing together, and they said, "Here's your YouTube channel, Mom."
There you go. That's exactly right. You just step into it. You don't doubt it. You don't go up here and this, that, or the other thing, or well, what about? No, don't even go.
And when you get those really scary voices that try to convince you can't do it, I just say thank you for sharing and send them on their way.
Exactly.
And I just do the next thing I can do.
That's all. And you will have those voices, the doubt voices. They don't go away. Even when you're, this age, you still have them. They're very subtle, and you really have to be careful because you don't hear them the same way anymore. You hardly hear them at all. And they're so subtle. They just whisper. But you still have to let yourself expand. This era, this timing is all about expansion and connection and community globally. And that's what we're all doing. Yeah.
And picturing the world doing better.
Yes.
Because when the world does better, then I do better. I mean, just for the totally selfish reason and for no other reason than that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well,
I can't tell you how happy I am that Val chose to come over and discuss all this fun stuff with me. And I hope I didn't pin you to the wall too hard.
Oh, no. I mean, I have to think about some of these things because.
Well, you know, these are questions I get from people when I read them. How come? How'd you learn how to do this? And what happened? And wasn't there ever a time when you said, "This is crazy. Why am I doing this?" And
No, because I grew up with a metaphysical mother.
well, see, that's different than most.
I just grew up with everybody goes to psychics, everybody does yoga, everybody. There wasn't a doubt in my mind about meditation or anything like that. I never had that. Luckily I provided my mother as a mentor when I decided to come in. So I was already, you know, miles ahead in terms of not having to go through that, like a religious thing where you have to interface your beliefs with all of that and try and commingle it and make sense of everything. I never had to go through any of that. No.
Well, every time I got thrown out of churches, and
yeah,
I know it's like you got thrown out of churches in the 50s, yeah. And
exactly.
Every time I questioned the minister, my father would say, "That's a good question."
See,
say that. And he got on his knees and prayed every night. I'm sure some of the prayers were, "Oh God, please fix her," but
fix her. But you know what? If you can't have a questioning mind, then the organization isn't for you.
No.
That is this very profound truth. If you cannot question everything.
And that means when things happen around you, you go, was that real? Was that Memorex, or my, you know, totally out to lunch? But it's eventually the things are just, they're so much realer when we're in that world.
Yes.
Than when we're in the other world.
So true. So true, Nancy Jean. So true. I
And there's frozen Val. Val just froze. Perhaps this is a good time to say goodbye and thank her greatly for being here and helping us. And because she's not unfreezing. A lot of problems on the internet right now. I want to thank everyone who's come by and everyone who watches it later. Like, subscribe, go to Val's channel, Dragonfly Crystals, and join there too. Talk to you later. Bye.